Hello everyone, my name is Vipul Paliwal. I am the Community Development Coordinator at Indian Institute of Business Psychology. Today we are going to launch our webinar 2.0 with the Voice of Educators. We have started this informational interview series or informational interactive sessions, as I would say. Indian Institute of Business Psychology has a mission to build a robust community for all things business psychology in India. We will be shortly giving you a brief about what IIBP is doing and what are current initiatives that we are doing. Currently, IIBP offers certifications, accreditations, memberships. So if you're interested, if you're a student, you can take a student membership. If you're a professional, you can check out the different kind of memberships available at IIBP. These memberships are really, really helpful for you to stay updated with the latest information of articles, knowledge, whatever trending is going on in the market regarding business psychology in the first place. IIBP also offers certification in psychometric testing level 1 and level 2. If you're interested in that, you can definitely reach out to us, as well as offers a certification in assessment and development sector. So if anyone of interested if anyone of you is interested and wants to stay connected with all the latest information about business psychology, then I would definitely recommend you to do check out the IIBP website. And if any of the membership intrigue you, you can definitely become a member and stay updated with all the latest information. So we'll be talking also about, so we'll be running a poll here. So definitely you can just, answer that. So it will be great for us to understand what kind of, where our audience is coming from, what they are doing, and it will be great for us. So if you can just please take a minute and fill this form, that would be super. All right. So the poll is about what role you are currently fulfilling. So if you can just click on that, and that would be really, really helpful for us to move forward with today's webinar. Okay. All right. Devika, I hope we can move forward. Or should we wait for a few more minutes to get the responses?
I think let's give them let's say 5 more seconds to fill it out, because we've 5 people remaining who haven't voted.
Okay, super. All right, so we'll wait for a few more seconds just to get your responses. It will be really, really insightful about and to know about where people are joining us from, which part of the world, and what they are doing in the field of business psychology, in the field of psychology, or any field, and they are interested just about today's topic, which is coming very, very interesting, and it's going to give a lot of clarity to all the professionals and non-professionals with today's webinar. We have more people joining up, so thank you guys for again joining at on time today. So we are really, really, really excited about moving forward. The early we start, better we can have the question and answer session at the end of the session. So that would be really, really interesting. So if you have any questions, you can put in the chat box, or you can just hold on to your questions, and we will be answering your question at the end of the session. Devika, I think we are doing good. Can we move forward? Okay. Can you please move the slide above the previous slide? I will just talk about it in brief. Okay. All right. So here are our current initiatives that we are about to launch or is launched. So IIBP's mental health initiative is already launched, where we have more than 25 trained mental health professionals ready to help you out, right? So this service is for all the people out there in India who wants to seek any kind of counseling or therapy. We have trained professionals at our website. You can just check that out and book your session immediately, right? So it's available for everyone. If any of your friends or your colleague wants to have a session, and you can send them this, you can recommend this IIBP's mental health initiative. We're also about to launch a guide on business psychology for students pan India, we have done our research in the last 2 3 months, where we gathered and collected this interest of all psychology students across India, and we'll be providing all information about how to make a successful career in the field of business psychology, especially in regards to India, how and what are the challenges, what are the opportunities available in India with the profession or the scope of business psychology as a profession. So if any of you are interested, you can definitely DM us or put, share your email ID and register for the guide. And you will be, will be, once we will be launching it, we'll be soon informing about the same. So it was really, really great opportunity to get one informative guide right in your inbox to learn all about business psychology in the first place. All right, let's move to the most important thing today. The topic of our webinar. In the last webinar, there is this one line where I learned that was stuck in my head. That is, we have guided missiles, but we failed to guide humans. So the last webinar was about understanding how education is going to play a crucial role moving forward. Today, we are going to talk about taboos, stigmas, myths, and facts related to counseling and psychotherapy. Many of you have heard about counseling or psychotherapy in various different forms. Every one of you might be having various definitions of it, a different perspective and understanding of the same. But today, our speaker, Ms. Jyoti ma'am, will be giving you a selective awareness about all the terminologies related to business, all the terminologies related to counseling, and basically giving a clear idea or gaining a better clarity about what these taboos are, what the stigmas are, what myths are there, what are the actual facts. So if you can take a seat back and listen to today's speaker, which I will share, which I will introduce right now. Devika, can you move to the next slide, please? Yes. So with the today's speaker, Ms. Jyoti ma'am, I would like to say that she has years of experience in counseling and psychotherapy. She gives a very clear message and presents a beautiful perspective about in order to understand a concept or to gain clarity about various terminologies. Ma'am is a practitioner and have created and guided mindfulness programs for many years, right? She also has been trained in, diagnosing various disorders such as depression and anxiety. And today I'll be definitely betting on this fact that you will gain a lot of clarity about what these myths, taboos, and facts about counseling are there that you might be knowing, you might not be knowing about it. You might be aware of the same, but you don't have a better understanding about the same. So we'll be talking all about taboos, myths, facts related to counseling and psychotherapy. And I'm glad to have Ms. Jyoti Gupta today with us at Indian Institute of Business Psychology Webinar 2.0. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Vipul. I won't take much time and I don't want to say much about myself because I think Vipul has said a lot, and the less the better. That's what I think nowadays, because the more the merry is the phrase, but I think nowadays it's not suiting all of us. The more we are scared, basically. So the less the better. So I'll just start directly. It's better rather than just talking much about what we are going to do. The main problem when we talk about, when the moment this things comes into your mind, mental health, I think we are going to talk about the taboo, and this is the major thing which I have faced in my 23 years of career. And believe me, there is not a single day which just goes off or went off just like that where I'm not facing any kind of thing that log kya kahenge. And before I proceed further, that what are the myths and all those things, let's just have a look basically that what mental health is exactly, so that, because until unless you're not going to know about that, what I know, most of us, so you must be aware, but still when we are presenting in such form, as it's always better to present right from the scratch, if not in that way. So first, I would like to share what mental health exactly is, so that we can go about what are the quick facts and misconceptions and all the other things which are there in the field of mental health. So mental health, when we say that, what do you mean by a mentally healthy person? When we talk about the mentally healthy person, it means a person who is at such a state, at such a place where he or she realizes his or her potential to the maintenance of successful mental activity. It includes a number of things, like whatever daily whatever life stressor we are facing on a day-to-day life, we can handle them without getting panic, without getting anxious, and without getting or going into a low mood kind of thing. And whatever work you are doing, it is productive and you are feeling happy about it, and the kind of result you are getting from your work, it's really positive and a good one for you as well as your community. Because as long as we are doing, we are providing some or the other thing to our community also. So when we are doing these things in a proper manner, without getting overwhelmed and confused, I think then we can say, we can call us that we are mentally healthy. So are a wide range of mental conditions that affects
पागल है,
your
वो मेंटल
thought.
कंडीशंस जो बोल रही है, मेंटली हो जाएंगे इसमें.
I'm sorry, ma'am. There are a wide range of mental health conditions that affect your mood, your thinking, and behavior. And there are example of mental illnesses like that include anxiety, depression, eating disorders, or some addictive behaviors which people are get trapped by those things. So we get affected by all these things, and these are the things which really have we get concerned from time to time about all these things. But a mental health concerns become a mental health illness, mental disorder, when ongoing sign and symptoms cause frequent stress and affect your ability to function basically. Before that, they are just the concern, like if we someone is visiting or we are having a minor kind of problem, you are going for your office and your car's tire get punctured kind of thing, then that's a concern that how we I'm going to reach to my office, and I know how I'm going to manage. Maybe I'll call the garage person, I'll call the mechanic, and I'll ask him and request him to just come at our place or wherever you are, if it is possible. But if it is too much, if it is happening on each and every other thing, and it's affecting your daily routine, then it's convert basically, then we can call it as a mental illness. And it can create a serious problem in your daily life, such as your schoolwork if you are a student, if you're a housewife, it's your place, or if you are a professional, it's in your office, or in any kind of relationship also we face these kind of things. And when we say, we can see the sign and symptoms of these mental illnesses in our thoughts, in our perception, in our feelings, in our behavior. And that's how we can recognize that basically what kind of things are present with us, so that we can really think about it, whether we are looking for some professional help or it is just like that. So when we are talking about thought, if your thinking is getting confused, you are providing a different kind of expression, either they are too big grandiose kind of thing, and you feel and you think that you can do anything whatever is being presented to you, or you are kind of getting delusional, you're getting hallucinations, and you're not able to concentrate on your work, whatever work you are doing. And it is very, very difficult to make decisions, and even as simple as recalling and remembering a small things. And when we talk about the feelings, what are the feelings when we talk about the mental illness? It's a kind of thing, you don't feel good about yourself, you feel overwhelmed, you feel confused, you feel sad, and quite at times you are really in a happy mode, and then at the very maybe after a few hours or in a day or two, or maybe within a week or 15 days, you're not feeling good and up to the mark. And but that is a kind of prolonged thing, it is not like just an hour or 2 hour, that won't be count under illness. And anger, and you keep blaming others, and you're becoming suspicious also. And when these thoughts and feelings are really, you can see it in yourself when people are getting mental illness and mental disorder, they affect our behavior, and our behavior change m- majorly. Like you are not able to cope with your daily challenges and activities, or you are getting anxious, you're getting frustrated, you're getting agitated or annoyed even by a little task, and you're not feeling fresh, you're feeling fatigued and tired. You're not feeling that you have enough energy in your body, or you can perform some activities. And even you can sense or you can observe in other people's speech also, it's get at times slurry, at times they fumble a lot. But each and every fumble and slurriness is not going to count under mental illness. Basically, we have to have some other things also. And there is a dramatic change in your eating and in your sleeping habits, and you get easily distracted by anything. Means it's a teeny tiny kind of things, and you're getting distracted, and you're not able to focus, you're not able to eat, you're not able to sleep. So all these things, these are the possible signs and symptoms, basically, when you see a person who is suffering, who is going through a mental illness. And people sometimes involved in self-harms behavior, or they're getting violent, they get aggressive, they are not able to take decision, their judgment is impaired, and they get involved themselves in some sort of drugs and alcohol and other substance which are available. Or at some other times they are basically in a kind of denial mode, we can say that. And other number of other unexplained physical ailments like headache, stomach ache, muscular tension in your body, or pain, or maybe some sort of pain in your upper neck or lower back or in your calves. Or but when you're going to visit a physician, probably you're not going to get any kind of physical this thing, that doctor is going to give you some medicine so that you can get some sort of relief. So you're not going to find that thing, so they are going to count under this was basically. And some sort of social withdrawal, you don't want to be with people, you just want to be in social isolation and something like that. Now if people are going through with these kind of symptoms, obviously there must be some consequences for the mental health as well. As so you people are going to feel unhappy, and they are not going to enjoy their life. There is family conflict, and there are relationship difficulties. They are in social isolation, they don't want to talk to the people, they don't want to be a part of the group or something like that. And obviously, as I have shared earlier, that problem with alcohol and other drugs, if they are a student, they are going to miss their school, they're not able to concentrate, they are getting poor marks or something like that. Or if they are working professionals, obviously their performance at work is going to deteriorate on the daily basis, basically. And then further they are going to face financial problem, poverty, homelessness. At times things can go at any length, and then it is very very difficult basically for the people to handle themselves. And when the anxiety, or sometimes we are in quite a long or prolonged kind of sadness, it can lead to heart disease and other medical conditions, high bp, diabetes, even your liver get affected by all these things. And migraine also happens with because of these things. So sorry. Yeah, and I'm not going to talk much about the classes of mental illnesses. I'll just name them because we don't have that much of time basically to talk about all these things. But these are the kind of disorder which are prevalent: depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive, which is known as OCD, schizophrenia, and other psychotic disorder, or uh, other personality disorder and dissociative disorder. Somatic symptoms, like I was talking, if you're getting about the stomach ache and headache, so at times there is no physical thing as such basically present, is because you are having too much of anxiety or stress, or you are worried about too much of things, so you're going to have these kind of problems. And there are so many treatments available when we talk about mental illness. Your family or primary care give जो भी आपके डॉक्टर हैं, they can help you physically. जो physician, your physician can even help you. If it is a minor one, you can visit a psychiatrist, a medical doctor who diagnose and treat mental illness, or psychotherapist and psychologists who are really trained in these professions and in these fields, and they can help you a lot. These are some of the drugs which we use: antidepressant, anti-anxiety, some of the mood stabilizer, and antipsychotic medicines are also helpful. But we are not going to talk about all these things here. The main thing which we have gathered here is just to talk about the myths and facts about mental illness, which is a major problem. Like, initially, I think everyone has noticed, I don't know whose voice it was, but thanks to saying that condition, I don't know whosoever has spoken. I think that was the biggest taboo, that if I am saying mental condition, that doesn't include mental illness. I'll welcome the person that, thanks for pointing that. And if I'll say, you have make it sarthak in a way that we are talking about the taboo, and someone has just raised one of the major taboo, that we cannot say it's a condition. Of course it's a condition. You're going through it is a condition basically. And the biggest taboo is log kya kahenge, जिस पे ये the whole session is based. So the first thing is, psychiatric disorders are not true medical illnesses like heart disease and diabetes. People who have mental illnesses are just crazy. Well, that's not a fact at all, my dear friends. Brain disorder like heart disease and diabetes are totally medical illness. Research shows that there are genetic and biological causes for psychiatric disorder, and they can be treated effectively by psychotherapists, by psychiatrists, and by psychologists, depending what kind of problem or what kind of illness, disorder, or condition they are facing with themselves. The another one, which is a really a great myth, is that I'm not vulnerable to mental illness. Mental illness is the result of bad parenting or bad character, which is not true at all. Everyone, it can happen to everyone, anybody. In fact, it can happen to me also. It doesn't matter whether I'm the expert in this field or not. It has nothing to do with my expertise or my profession. I too can have any kind of mental illness. And most expert agrees that a genetic susceptibility and other combining risks, or maybe your environmental factor as well as your brain chemistry, plays a big role when you are going to have any kind of mental illness. The another thing very important, when people have depression or when they are really in a sad mood for a prolonged period of time, people say that you have a weak personality character and you don't have a willpower, and you can snap out if and you can come out of it, but you just not looking, which is not true. That's a myth. It's not a fact. The fact is that depression has nothing to do with being lazy or weak, or it's not even related to whether you have a strong willpower or whether you have a no willpower at all, which people talk about. It's a pure result from changes in your brain chemistry or brain functioning, and medication and psychotherapy often help people to recover from depression, and they can recover it fully, properly. And The another one is schizophrenia means if split personality and there is no way to control it. I know schizophrenia is a very advanced condition or a very, very highly, I'll say, the ultimate kind of mental disorder, which otherwise is not there. But yes, it is there. I have seen people have visited me, and it is very difficult to really help them just on the basis of psychotherapy. So there are few mental disorder where you need psychotherapy as well as medication, because schizophrenia is a brain disorder that really robs people of their ability to think clearly and logically, and medication has helped them in a many ways to lead their life in a normal. But the only thing that we get so afraid and scared at times of medication that we don't want to visit psychiatrist or psychologist just to talk about it, and the condition gets worse slowly and slowly. Depression is at times when people are going through, they are elder people. We have seen that we think that it's a normal aging process. Certainly it is not a normal aging process, because sign of depression in elder people include a lots of interest, and there can be number of other reasons, because there is not only one type of depression. And certainly we'll have some other sessions where we can talk about how many types of depression are there, just to get the awareness, because it's not just one, because the person is getting is elder. It can be after you deliver your baby, or you just lose your job, or you didn't get good marks, or there's so many other conditions when we feel basically low kind of things. But when we call this depression, those are certain different conditions. So even even as a professional, I just cannot label a person like this to any kind of mental illness. It's That's not ethical basically. Depression and other illnesses, at times when we see in younger kids, we see that they are, it's a childish kind of thing, or is just a part of growing. No, it is not a part of growing. There are certain conditions which happen with the kids, and we need to hear them out, and we need to encourage them to talk about it, so that we can really help them before it gets too late. Because if things left untreated, these problems can get really worse, and they can create a problem for their academic as well as for some other things also. Addiction, Joe, which we think that people are alcoholic, or they are having because they want to get high, or they are having just for fun, that too happens. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, sorry. But addiction is a disease. It's a proper full-fledged disorder that generally result from and changes in your brain chemistry basically. Another thing, I most of the time when we see a person who is suffering, who is going through with mental illness or some sort of mental disorder, we think that I cannot do this anything for this person. Well, that's not true. You can do a lot with a person to help him or her out. Starting with how you act and speak with the person, you can create an environment that builds on people's strength and promote understanding what the person is trying to talk, how you're going to talk, what you're going to talk. Like, just don't label a person. As I have said, don't label a person like words crazy, maniac, psycho. I have just mentioned here crazy because at times we use, I know I have heard teens talking that you're totally psycho. At times they don't mean it, so why to even use it? Because you never know to whom you're talking and to whom for whom you're using such kind of words, and in what way the person is going to take. So you are otherwise putting unnecessary thoughts in other person minds. You can say person with this thing, that means these are two different things. And it's important to make distinction between the person and the illness. That illness is not going to define you. Are you going to have fever? So what are we going to say? That you are a feverish person or what? I don't know exactly. So just think about it, that when a person is having certain condition, it's just the condition. It's not the, I mean, we just cannot define the whole person on a base on the base of just one silly condition, one silly thing. These are two different things. Please be careful about it. People with severe mental illnesses such as schizophrenia are usually dangerous and violent. Certainly not. This is not true. I'll say most of the time, the incidence of violence in people who have brain disorder is not much higher than it is the general population. They are those suffering from psychosis such as schizophrenia or other disorders, personality disorder, are more frightened, confused, and despairing than violent. They are not in a, I'm not saying that they don't get violent, they do, but it depends person to person, and it depends at what level of illnesses they are. So we need to see that also. Young people and children don't suffer from mental health problems. They do suffer from mental health problem, as I have shared, that at times we if it is a younger kid or if it is an adolescent or puberty kind of thing is going on, we'll say that they'll just outgrow. They cannot have OCD, they cannot get depressed, they cannot get anxious. So that's not right. And it reflects in their schoolwork basically. They are not able to concentrate, their performance low day by day, and certainly they show some other symptoms also, like they're not able to sleep properly, eating issues, their social relationships suffer a lot even. And people who need psychiatric care should be locked away in institution. I'm so sorry, but this is not true, because most of the time, even I have seen people who have these kind of conditions, people, the other people, they don't want to even visit them. That's a very, I mean, what to say, kind of situation. I feel bad for them, but I think it's our duty to explain it to other people. They too can lead as normal and as productive life as I'm dealing and you are dealing. So, basharte we are going to provide the kind of support they are looking for, whether it is therapy, whether it is medicine, whether some sort of community intervention or whatever, so that they can feel better about themselves rather than feeling bad about themselves all the time. A person who has had mental illness can never be normal. They can lead as normal life as me and you are leading. I have just quote here an example. There was a person, John Polly, who has bipolar disorder. He received treatment and hosted her own television show, and adding to leading an enriched and accomplished life. So it's just like we are having fever, cold, flu, and some other condition, and we are visiting doctors. It's just like that. Please don't look at them like what they have done. I mean, it's not a shame. Please don't shame them, because we do a lot for every other thing. Another myth: people with mental illnesses can work low level jobs but aren't suited for really important or responsible pollution, which is not true at all. People with mental illnesses, they have the same capabilities and capacity and the aptitude and the IQ level. If we are talking in a layman language, they have all the things which we have, me and you basically. That was some of the things about the mental health, mental illness rather, what we think about. People are still okay that there are some of the things, there are some of the misconceptions which are related with the mental illness. But when it comes to help, when it comes to seek help, to visit a therapist, to visit a doctor, I think that's a whole lot of another aspect, another dimension where people are really thinking that no, the therapy, the counseling, it's not for me. Only crazy people go for counseling. Well, probably they are thinking because they don't have the idea that what counseling is all about actually. Most people who go for counseling are ordinary everyday people just like you and me, not violent, not dangerous, not crazy, not psycho, and not mental. They are just like you and me. And And counseling help them to cope with everyday stresses, improve their relationship, broaden your perspective, and give you more clarity of thought what you're going through in your daily life, so that you can lead your life in a better and prosperous way. Another thing is counseling is only for with mental illness, which is not true at all. Most people seek help, and mostly this is, I'll say, this is the highest. I'll suggest most people seek counseling and therapy not for mental disorder, not at all. They just seek the help so that they can, I mean, cope with the kind of situation they are in. It can be stress, it can be their low mood, it can be their relationship, it can be they have lost someone in their family, or they're just not able to cope up whatever, or in however manner the life is happening around them. So they just want to figure it out and want to understand it and gain a better and a different perspective, not just the better, I'll say, a different perspective, whether it is a 6 or 9. It all depends from where you are looking at it. And that's what, when I'm seeing perspective, and that what's a make a difference in another people's life when they are coming for the counseling. People who go for counseling are broken and emotionally damaged. Well, I'm sorry for that. Everything may not be perfect in your life, but that doesn't mean you're broken or emotionally damaged. Because we all of us have heard such type of phrases that you are broken, you are damaged, you can't do anything in your life, and it's like that we are looking some sort of validation from other people to lead our life in a happy and joyful way. Remember that this is not the end of the world, and that you can seek help to help heal yourself and to bring your life back on the track if you're thinking that it is not already. It is too expensive. Well, yeah, people think about it a lot, and they think that we are just get paid just to listen other people, and we are get paid because other people are crying and we are listening. Believe me, give it a try, and you'll come to know what we people do exactly. So it is not expensive, it is an investment that you make for your physical and emotional well-being. Aren't you going to gym? Is it, isn't it that is that's expensive, but we are willing to pay because we know that why we are coming here, and we cannot go for the counseling or for the therapy because certainly we don't have that much of idea that why we are visiting to a therapist or to a counselor or to a psychologist for that matter. So if you are paying here, you're getting something in return also. So it's not expensive, it's an investment which you're doing it for yourself basically. Yeah, this is, we have already uh, people get counseled only after some tragedy. Well, if you would like to visit a counselor or psychologist, it doesn't mean that first something is happening, some sort of tragedy must have taken place in your life so that you can visit a psychologist. Certainly not. People can seek counseling for navigating through life's crossroads, relationship, mental ailments, and as small as self improvement. Then you're not getting a better sleep, you want to improve your eating habit, but it provides awareness what is happening in your life and how you're going to take a better look at it and how you're going to handle it in a better way. It's all about, so you might be physically and mentally healthy and still seek counseling to maintain or improve it. The another very important fact is for people who have no one to talk. It's for the people who are lonely basically. It's for the people who are depressed, who really cannot talk, or if a person who is introvert, even I have heard. But I don't have that much of time to quote some live experiences here. But yes, that's what I have heard. You are an introvert, so you need some counseling. You're not talking to your mama, so you need some counseling. You just cannot open up with your friends, so you go to a therapist. You, and there are so many other things. If you're not even talk to your husband or to your boyfriend or to your lover, you just, dude, you just go and see some therapist. I mean, and at times people take it as if they have been shamed for something which they are lacking, which is not true at all. Counseling is different from talking to your family and your friends, because, and it's not just about giving or taking advice, because we don't do giving advice kind of things or suggestion. It is much more than that. You can call it, but it is not. Counselors and psychologists are highly trained and qualified professionals. They have spent years learning and practicing how to diagnose and treat emotional and behavioral issue, which is not possible when you're talking to your family and your friend, basically. And at times when you are visiting a psychiatrist or psychologist, they are scared because they think that they prescribe you some medicine. First of all, psychologists and psychotherapists, psychologists are not permitted to prescribe medicine. If they feel that you really need medication, like I have said, schizophrenia and some other condition where you need medication and it is must, then they prefer you to go to a psychiatrist who can think and decide whether you need a medicine or not. But ultimately, it is going to be your choice whether you want to go for the medication or you don't. The choice will be always yours. So, counseling is endless. At times, people think once we start visiting a psychologist or a counselor, it's not going to end. And that's really difficult for me to how we are going to handle the whole situation. Well, that is just not true. Whenever there is a problem, then you can visit, and probably it's going to take 1 or 2 sessions, probably a month, or probably just one session is going to be sufficient for you, and you are just out of the session, and that's all. So it is not endless, basically. And certainly counseling is common sense. Well, this is not common sense, as I have shared it with you earlier. People who are psychologists, psychotherapists, they are professionally trained, they know what they are talking, they are using techniques, they are using different kind of modalities, different kind of theories, practices. They provide you some lifestyle choices which you can bring into your life and make your life better. And therapy is like talking to a friend. As I have, it's not talking to a friend, because friend can provide support. They do provide support. I'm not denying the fact, but they can gossip also, and then they can use your information and talk to other friend. The other friend is going to talk to another friend, and there's a kind of Chinese rumor kind of things can happen. But when you're talking to a therapist or a psychologist or a counselor, they are bound by law to keep it in a confidential manner. That is the first and uttermost important thing in counseling, that whatever you are going to share in that couch, in that room, in your therapy session, we are not going to use it anywhere else, except I will not rely until unless we are not helping, or we are not discussing some major issues. Then we do discuss cases, but we never take a name, and just to enhance the understanding for the case to other persons, so that another counselor or our colleagues even can help their clients in a better way. Therapy entails blaming your parents, which is not a fact. At times, people don't want to visit because, obviously, as a therapist, we are bringing your past. But the only intention why we want to bring your past is just to let you know that how influential it is you, how you're behaving, and how you're going to do and what you're going to do in your future. So therapy helps you basically you to take responsibility and be the charge of your life. Anyone can be a counselor. Well, that's not true. We need some sort of courses, some degrees, and then we can go in the field of counseling and psychology and become a psychologist, not just like that. Because nowadays, even a school receptionist can be a counselor, and some other places where I have seen the word counselor inverted commas, but they are not that counselor. I mean, the psychologist or therapist kind of counselor, they are otherwise, because it's an umbrella term which is being used for otherwhere also. Another thing, another myth, if I go for counseling, everyone will hear about it. I have already shared it that no, it is not like that. Confidentiality is the utmost important thing which we have to maintain here. So people are not, I mean, I'm giving the surety that it never happened at least. Counselor will use my secret against me. They will never use your secrets. They will discuss it with you in therapy room. and not otherwise they are not going to use it against you to make you better. The counselor will tell me what my problems are and how to fix them. Contrary to common misconception, counseling is not a cure. It takes time, it takes process. It is a process basically that the individual undertake with the counselor. They are merely the facilitator rather than anything else here, I'll say. The counselor job is not to give you the advice, as I have told, they are facilitator, not the advisor actually. It weird pouring out my concern to a stranger, which I have felt many a times people have shared it with me. You're probably right, but it's a little strange. But once you start sharing yourself, I think soon it's disappear and you are a better person and you can share. And at times it's just the opposite. It is easy to share to a stranger rather to a known person, because there you have no fear of being getting judged by the person to whom you know actually. A counselor cannot understand me unless we have a similar experience and background, which is not true, because counselor are experienced people. They share their experiences with many people, and lots of other people are coming and they are getting other kind of help. So regardless of your background or unique concern, they are there to accompany you through a difficult time in your life, not otherwise. And counseling takes forever. Counseling doesn't work at all. There is no definite time frame for counseling. That is true. But it is not like that, as I have shared, that it takes just go on and on. That's not going to happen. And it can finish in one go, in two, in three, in a month or two, or it is going to take a longer period of time, depending what kind of concern or problem or issues you have. And for that reason, you are visiting to a counselor.
Hi, ma'am. Sorry to
And the
interrupt you.
major worry people, yeah, just a minute. Yeah,
Sure.
just this is done, finish. When people are visiting, especially when they are in a corporate sector, they are visiting, and I have heard it कि मैम कहीं ये मेरे CV में तो नहीं reflect होगा. So we never share, I think, any kind of this information which is going to reflect in your CV. And that's all I think, but we can combat this stigma. But before going for this, I would like to talk about the audience or the people who have participated basically, because it's about all about creating the awareness and other things, not just me talking, which I have talked a lot. Thank you. Thanks for listening so patiently.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was such a meticulous, simple, effective, utilitarian presentation. I would say there are a lot of things which are layman languages that we use and we are not aware of that. Our conscious choice of actions or words and how we should use that is something that is definitely that I've learned from this PPT from today's session. So we'll be taking on questions from here onwards. So I would request everyone if you can put down your questions in the chat box, and then we can just ask one by one. Or if anyone would like to take an initiative and ask a question, they can unmute themselves, and that would be good.
I also found a very interesting, like I spoke to ma'am yesterday as well, and I told her the beginning image was a very apt, the log kya kahenge thing. So I think we did speak about this, how we would like to just do a quick poll to see, and it's like an anonymous poll, so no one will know your answers, but just to see if that still stands today, that the log kya kahenge response, or if it doesn't. So I'll just launch a very quick poll, 30-40 seconds, to just see if it ever does really affect our decision making. And you can be as honest as you want. If you do not want to answer, you can skip it. But we would just like to maybe know how you would feel. Can you guys see the poll?
Yeah, the poll is in progress.
Oh.
Is there only one question?
Yes, so it's just the question about the log kya kahenge. We had a previous poll that was launched in the beginning, but this is just the comment, like this is just the end. So as Joanna is asking, it basically means that have you ever changed your decision based on what people might say or what people might think about me, and based on that you've changed your decision or changed the way that you would have done something, or just in that kind of scenario?
Okay. All right. Devika, are we good to move forward, or should
Yeah,
we wait
sure, we
for a
can.
few? Okay. I hope everyone has answered the whole question. Thank you for that. Ma'am, there is this one comment regarding a myth by K. Raghavan that mentions that counseling is done by seniors / elders to youngsters. So, ma'am, what's your comment on that?
Actually, I'm not, that's not the counseling actually. Counseling can only be done by the experts who are really professionally experts in their field and thoroughly have been trained, and they have put their time and energy to learn some of the modalities, some of the techniques, because counseling is not just like giving advice or some few suggestions. We never give advice and suggestions. We always facilitate kind of things, and most of the time it is reflection, just showing you the mirror in a very positive and non-judgmental way, so that you can see what you are saying and from where you are. So we are just making you aware, which at times elder people too can do, but they are not the counselor. So that's just a myth that a person who is young cannot, if he or she has gone through that kind of training and is knowledgeable and have all kind of things, basically can do the counseling. So it's not like that, certainly not like that. And jo hamari nani dadi karti hain, that's their experience.
In fact, I had mentioned that
Experience share
it's a
is
myth.
not counseling. Yeah, it is a myth. Yes, Agwan, it
Yeah,
is a
in
myth,
fact, that was the
certainly.
point that I made, that it is a myth because everybody
Yeah,
considers that they are giving. That's what I
yeah,
meant.
it is a myth. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for adding it. Thank you for adding it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the biggest
We,
stigma which even I have faced is लोग क्या कहेंगे. सबसे बड़ा taboo जो आज तक मैंने face किया है, and still I'm facing, I think. I mean, people are coming to me, they talk to me, even their phone, I don't know them, like I don't know you, but they still saying कि मैम आप किसी से बोलोगे तो नहीं. So that's the problem, that they are so scared of even talking about themselves that they just, I don't know what will happen if they'll talk. Yes, Vipul, please carry on.
yeah. All right. So we are all waiting for your curious questions. So there is one more question by Iti Sharma. How can public perception about importance of counseling in regular life? So I didn't get the question, Iti. If you can unmute yourself and can ask the
Yeah,
question
that would
yourself,
be better.
that would be great. Iti, are you with us? Okay.
I think she
All
just
right.
left the meeting. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if anyone of you has any question, you can put in the chat box or you can unmute yourself. If not, then please do share what is the one thing that you like to take away from today's session. So you can chat, you can put in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and just share what is the one thing that you learned from today's interactive session, or today's the series of myths and facts. What is the one thing that you was so far not aware of it, and you gain a clarity about that? So if we can give your understanding, that would be really helpful for us to know about how the session went today. So thank you, Vijay.
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Conditions like schizophrenia, can there
Voice is breaking, I think.
Yeah, I think there is a voice breakage.
Yeah,
Shishi,
I'll write. I'll write.
sure,
that would be good.
Give me a moment. I'll write.
for sure.
In the meantime, I think there are two questions that can be answered together. I believe, ma'am, you could take it differently, but about how do you convince management of your company that employees need counseling, and the other is how can you change the public perception about the importance of counseling. So, what do you think about?
Actually, that's what we are doing right now. We are creating the awareness, and by creating more awareness, and by just like we talk about every Friday, are we going for a party? Are we going for a drink? Let's talk about how was the day. And when you're talking about how was the day, obviously some of the things you're going to talk about, you were good, you were not good, you felt better, you felt happy, or you felt low, or something like that. So when you talk about your experience, that's how you're bringing the awareness that where you need to put more attention. Because obviously हम ध्यान वहीं पे देते हैं जहाँ पे हमें लगता है कि हमें कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा करने की जरूरत है. So just by creating more awareness is the only way to talk about it. Don't feel shame about it, and don't other shame. Shaming other people just because they are going through something, I think you're not shaming them, you're shaming yourself in a way. I mean, I believe in humanistic approach rather than just anything. So by creating more awareness is the only way, and to talk about it. And even if you are not able to do it, just be there and try to hear out the person. At times the person is not looking for your suggestion or long list of advices, do this, do that, don't do that. The person just want a window, just a window to speak about it, nothing else, and the person is cured. That's what counseling and therapy is actually. Not providing anything, but just providing a space and non-judgmental and loving way where you feel accepted as you are, with no if and but, with no frames. It's an all ending kind of frame, loose frame, and that works better.
Okay, so we are still waiting for your questions. If not, if you can share what you have learned today, what is the one thing that you would like to take away from today's 58 minutes of the session so far? What is the one thing that you really loved and you liked and you would like to take away from the session? Do share with us. If not, I'm just waiting for anyone who can unmute yourself. You can share. If not, then I'm really really excited to share one thing which I really learned today. So I'm just waiting for anyone else to take an initiative. If not, then I will. In the meanwhile, yes, definitely there are a lot of upcoming webinars and events that are coming. Please stay tuned with IIBP website as well as IIBP handles across all social media, particularly on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So we do have a lineup of events that are coming up. We also have we are running this mental health initiative where counselors are there for your help. So you can just check that out. We're also about to launch a guide on business psychology, informative guide for all the students out there. So if any student who is interested to learn more about business psychology as a career in simple, they can reach out, share their interest, and definitely reverting back. All right, so we have few more. Yeah, so we have one more question from Iti. How can a counselor ensure that she empathizes and not sympathizes with the patient?
See, the kind of training you get for that is basically you learn how to empathize and not sympathize. It's not a pittiness. So when a person is sharing his or her concern, we are not about to pity. We need to put ourselves in his or her shoes and try to feel the thing what the person is going through, rather than just feeling pity for the person. And that's how you can majorly you can differentiate at the initial and at the beginning level. But if you want to learn it more, I think then you need to go about the thorough training how to empathize, not to sympathize.